Hi, despite what you may have heard, I'm Georgia Flu.
And I'm still Boston's #1 martyr, Veronica Vandersnatch. And we're Face Down Queens. Welcome to Fashion Photo Reflu!
So, as you may notice, today my usual partner in crime, Majenta with a J, could not be with us. They wouldn't let her out of the retiring home today. So we're joined by someone else who belongs in a retiring home.
Look, I've seen the brochures. They look fantastic. Majenta, I'll see you there.
Welcome, Veronica Vandersnatch.
Thank you for having me.
Temporary replacement.
Of course, I have to say, in the interest of full disclosure, I do produce a lot of the video content for Boston Drag Gauntlet for this cycle, but that doesn't mean I cannot be an impartial arbiter of their looks.
This week, the queens were challenged to do steampunk looks and performances. I personally, for the record, don't know a whole lot about steampunk, so I just wanna, if there's like a reference that I don't get, I apologize, but it's your fault.
Yeah, when I think of steampunk, I typically tend to think of like really cosplay type looks. I also do think that this is, of all the challenges that we've had, I do think that this is a particularly difficult challenge because especially for the very femme-presenting performers, I do think that there is something inherent about steampunk that is a little bit more like rougher, tougher. There's a lot less
dirty and gritty.
Exactly. And so it's really interesting to see where the kings and queens kind of found their success in their, let's say, opportunities.
Otherwise known as not successes. So let's dive right on in. First up, we've got Nadia Plaything. So we also don't have our cards with us today. Get over it. Leave me alone. So we're just gonna rate it as we would ordinarily, without cards though. A 6 and a 7.
Ooh, am I the bitch tonight?
We'll find out. I think this is a really cool look. It's clearly like a steampunk mermaid, and I think that reads kind of immediately. I get kind of like Super Mario vibes because of the pipe and like coming out of the pipe.
I do think that this is a good time to mention that in addition to having steampunk as their challenges, they were also given objects that they had to kind of incorporate.
I did not know that.
Nadia was handed a calculator. So I agree what you're saying. I like the look of it. I like the kind of mermaid element of it. I was not really clear on what the calculator was supposed to be there for. And I think it was a really, really interesting look. I think for me, where it succeeds is that it understands the kind of materials.
Yeah.
And the kind of aesthetic.
I feel like if you're given an object and you're supposed to incorporate it into the outfit, that sort of means that it should be maybe not the centerpiece, but somewhat of a focal point. Next up, we've got Redux. Double 4s.
Oh, okay.
It's not terribly exciting, and it does not give me steampunk. This is one of the things that, as I said, I'm not super familiar with it, so maybe my version of it is kind of a very base level knowledge of steampunk. This gives me more Doc Brown and Back to the Future, which I love Back to the Future.
Interesting.
But it's not steampunk. Hair's cute.
No, I agree with everything you're saying. My first read of it was that I think with the jumper cables and there was this kind of like mad scientist vibe to it, I was thinking a little bit along the lines of like Dr. Frankenstein and his monster. Again, I think this was a place where like a lot of the elements, like the goggles that are there, that works.
Yeah.
But like that's kind of it. I don't see an inventive look.
She looks like an inventor, but she's not being inventive. Next up, we've got Harlow Havoc. 6s.
Oh, we are so aligned right now.
We're vibing.
For me, the things that succeed is exactly where Redux kind of didn't meet the challenge, which is I see intricacy of accessories, items. This is a strange situation for me where the details are all very strong. It's the
overall.
It's the broader picture.
I again don't get super steampunky from it. I don't think of purple as being like in the color palette of Steampunk. I think the skirt's cool. I like it a lot. I honestly think that if she had maybe like lost the jacket, I maybe would have seen it a little bit more.
Black and gold and brass would have been fine. That's very training. I see the world and the tone that this character lives in.
Yeah, I definitely get a story from this look, and I do like it as a look. So next up we have the winner of this week's challenge, MT Heart. 9 and 10.
9 and 10.
We love this look.
I was a huge fan of this look. I was seeing MT do it downstairs. I've been a huge fan of MT since his intro video. I think there's a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah, I mean, I love this look also. One thing that Magenta and I have sort of maybe pushed MT to do a little bit more is be a little bit more exaggerated, especially in terms of makeup. And this is sort of completely like fantastical, over the top, and I get very much steampunk out of it. The like key in the back is really neat.
The one thing I would have loved to see MT kind of play with is a sense of proportion and scale. When you're going with a completely artificial being like a robot, there could have been padding under the shoulders, under the chest. You know, like we could have really gone into some really interesting body shapes that
make things a little more angular.
But like also like, I mean, this was a great chance for it to be like, feel very lumbering and feel very mechanical.
Next up, we've got Christie Cream, who unfortunately was one of many sent home this week.
Oh.
Okay.
We have a disagreement.
We do. Yeah, there are elements of this look that I like a lot. I like the nails. I think that like a lot of the pieces look well made, and like I don't dislike them. But I don't know. I'm just not obsessed with it because it doesn't feel super thought out.
I hear you. I do think that like of all the looks, like this is probably like what is like the most classic steampunk look. I mean, like the only thing that I really have against it is that I will buy an argument that this looks almost a little too like Amazon.com. Yeah. But I do notice that there are some details in it that are kind of unique, and they aren't just taken out of a costume shop. Like I'm seeing a little bit more attention to detail than I want to necessarily write off. I thought it was fine.
She's taken a lot of risks in this competition, and this is not one of them. Like she came out in a giant fucking SpongeBob foam box. And this just sort of feels like the most obvious reference point.
Right, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more broader strokes, but there is something about it that makes me think steam engine, like conductor. So we're sad to see you go, Christie. You were wonderful.
Bye. Next up, we've got Secret Queen. 8s.
8s.
I think this look is fun. The two things that I like really love about it in terms of taking it to like a very specific historical place that I do associate with steampunk are the skirt and the hair. I get saloon girl, courtesan kind of immediately. She looks like a hooker, and I love that.
But there's also some color blocking and things that feel like a lot more modern.
Right.
It feels like it's straddling both worlds quite well. I wish I could have given higher than an 8. For me, the headphones are kind of what fell apart for me.
Okay.
Only because they were basically invisible.
Right.
Which is what happens when you have a white headphone on like a nude, like kind of shiny top. I think that she's maybe trying to think really strategically how the game is played, and so she's not taking all of the risks that she should. Where like that could have been strung throughout all of her wig. That could have been like, you know what I mean? Like it's a stringy thing that could have gone anywhere. It could have gone all down to the ends of her fingertips. Like it is a
very fun item that she could have worked with a lot. So next up, we've got Zane X. Oh, very different.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. I did not recognize it as Zayn at first, which is exciting. I mean, like, and their makeup's always phenomenal, and they go in like very like weird,
very
interesting
dynamic
directions with it. Maybe there's like details that I'm just not seeing, but the overall impact, I'm just not excited by it.
All right, well, since I'm the nice one, I'll go. I wanted this to be wonderful. The only thing that kills it for me is that there's a remote control on the top of it. It's to me, it's a really, really great look in the same way that Secrets was a really great look, but it's the incorporation of the item that just felt like not as exciting. There are details in there in the makeuping and the accessories that I think worked out really, really well. And I think they were kind of approximating the same kind of story of like, you know, an artificial kind of mechanical person.
I just don't super duper, besides the like gold brassy color, I don't get robot from it.
Okay. You did, okay.
So I didn't quite, because of that, I guess I didn't know what it was supposed to be. With like the print of that fabric, I get like how it's sort of a metallic tone, but it looks a little more like fluid and organic. So next up, we've got Travis T. 7 and 8.
7 and 8.
So yeah, I think for me, sort of like how you said about Christie, this is the look that most gave me like, this is what I think when I think of steampunk. And it's in some ways a little on the nose, but it's still, like, it doesn't feel straight out of the bag at the same time.
No, I thought this was a very strong look. Similarly, it is exactly what I would picture a really strong cosplay to be. There's something very video game character about it. I think it all works really, really well. I kind of expected it. This to me is like, yep.
That's steampunk.
It's like when, I'll use a baseball analogy. They hit the ball and they got on base, but it wasn't a home run.
Baseball.
It is a successful look. It just, there wasn't anything that surprised me.
Yeah, it's safe.
Yeah, in the exact
baseball. Safe.
Safe.
So next up, we've got Victoria Obvious, who was the other contestant who went home this week. Yep.
Since I'm the lowest one, I'll go first. I love Victoria's personality. I think that she is a fun entertainer. She has a very basic outfit. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, if you only have 10 minutes to put a look together, maybe this works. If you only have 10 hours, maybe it's also fine.
But if you got 2 weeks...
When you have 2 weeks, I don't know all of what Victoria's capable of, but that skirt could have been bigger, it could have been fuller, it could have been hemmed. Also, the hat. I know that there was, you have to do something with VHS tapes, but like someone said in the challenge, like it could have been an entire fringe outfit made of tape.
Yeah, I think unspooling them's the right call, but then to just sort of let them dangle there and not really do anything in terms of shape and silhouette or movement, they're just kind of there.
If she takes that hat off, what's she wearing?
Yeah, a lot of the other like people who we've kind of criticized for being a little bit too safe, you could have taken some pieces from them and just,
literally,
just slapped them on top of
glued them to the top, and all of a sudden you've got a lot.
But yeah, like we're talking about like having lots of like trinkets and accessories. She doesn't even have a bracelet. So next up we've got Pancake, 5 and 6.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yeah, there are elements of this that read as steampunk to me, mainly in terms of like the silhouette, but it's kind of the exact same color palette problem as Harlow. Like a purple, it reads almost as more like circusy.
This is a creature woman that Beetlejuice like summons. You know what I mean? It feels very much in that world.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of the colors make me think real monsters, so I think monsters, so I think that. But there is something.
Well, the black and white stripe is Beetlejuice also.
And this is someone who, not 2 challenges ago, set themselves on fire because their challenge was to be a volcano.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, if you're a light bulb, you're gonna figure out how to turn a light bulb on, be covered in light bulbs, be the queen of light bulbs. I don't care what, but I was like,
I'm also maybe just a smidge bothered by the like hat and jacket. They clash a little bit. And I think because of that, but the kind of way that they clash kind of takes it further out of steampunk because it kind of makes it even more, it brings attention to the fact that there's too much color. So, did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun.
Me today.
I want to apologize to everyone who I disappointed by not winning. But I think I got the best prize of all, which is, you know, being here on Fashion Photo Review.
Being a face-down queen.
Being a face-down queen.
An illustrious, legendary group of people. So be sure to check out the next episode of the Boston Drag Gauntlet on October 8th at Jacques Cabaret at 7:30 p.m. They're doing Snatch Game.
Snatch Game!
So come check out all of the celebrities.
Follow me, Veronica Vandersnatch, at Veronica_Vandersnatch on Instagram. Also on Venmo, just a hint. Also, every other Wednesday at Club Cafe, you can see me for the Nowhere Near Broadway review, where I am often doing self-indulgent numbers that no one's ever heard of, because honestly, I'm just doing them for me.
Because that's a Broadway night.
Because that's what we do.
And be sure to like this video, comment on this video, subscribe to this channel, share this video, and also follow me on Instagram, Georgia_Flu. Bye.
Bye.